Zach, I'm taking this one. I'm going first. So Zach and I were talking about what video we're going to do. And he's like, Phil, I think we should talk about this. I think this is a meaningful thing and we should probably do an episode on it because I think this is something that people would actually endeavor to like be better off knowing and prepare for the future. And I'm like, Zach, it's the easiest problem in the world to solve. But bro, it's the easiest thing in the world to solve. So today we're talking about Premodern and specifically Mox Diamond.
Yeah. So the premise here is that Premodern has kind of a Mox Diamond problem, in my opinion, right? Mox Diamond is probably one of the best cards to play in a format that's short on fixing, short on cheating mana, ramp mana type of thing.
Zach, Gemstone Mine Reflecting Pool.
But on top of that, that card is also extremely expensive. Like,
what is it now? Like
$700?
$700, yeah.
Let's look. I'm gonna look right now and see what it costs.
Zach is looking at the time of this recording, which is on September 15th. Wow, 10 years ago.
No, let's see. Mox Diamond. Mox Diamond is $800 at like TCG Mid. Finding the right high-end cards for legacy, vintage, pre-modern, or old school Magic can be challenging. That's where a friend's 3-for-1 trading come in.
3-for-1 Trading is buying all Magic the Gathering singles and entire collections, big and small. They're one of the top trading card game traders, buying way over 1 million Magic cards a year, and they are more than happy to make you an offer on your cards. In addition to sending in your cards, you'll also have the chance to sell and trade them at MagicCon Atlanta, taking place from September 26th to 28th. Huge thanks to 3-for-1 Trading for supporting the Legacy community. Now back to the show.
$800. So if you want to play Mox Diamond, and I think you should, you just need to spend a cool, at $3,600. Now, Phil, we'll talk about ways to get around that, of course. My stance is that this is one of the best cards in the format, and I'm not calling for a ban or anything like that.
No, of course not.
But it's one of the best cards in the format. It's also one of the biggest detractors of.
Is it?
Like, well, here's my thesis. It's a reason why people don't play this format, because over the course of time, Premodern has gotten more expensive. What has happened is that the staples of Premodern that are reprintable have been reprinted. You can go.
Parallax Tide was like $5 at one point. Now it's like 30 or something.
This is also true. Yeah. It is Parallax Tide is not on the reserve list, though. I know that for a fact. Urza's Destiny
I don't know.
Last time.
I don't know. Urza's
Destiny is the last time that something was on the reserve list. So from
your
there,
Tinkers. No, Tinkers
they could reprint Parallax Tide, but they can't reprint Mox Diamond. They can't reprint Phyrexian Dreadnought. Some of these cards that are like
Dreadnought's like 200.
Yeah, hallmarks of the format. Like, you need this card to compete in the format at its toppest tier, right? Like, let's be honest. The winner of LobsterCon walks away with some cool, rad, brownie points. You did a great job. We supported a charity and stuff like that. No one's taking home a trophy. There's nothing truly financial on the line. But I think a reason why a lot of people don't get involved with Premodern is when they look at decks that are like the top decks, which is what I would do, or you would do if we were looking at a new format. We would say, hey, what's the top deck? Let me see if I can, buy this top deck. The numbers are outrageous. I mean, like, let's look real fast. I'm going to look at.
You're looking at like Terrageddon and stuff like that, which is or like Oath anything or anything Terravore, which is Mox Diamond, and then Phyrexian Dreadnought, and Dreadnoughts are closing in on 200. So like there are to build that deck, it's like $1,000.
So yeah, Dreadnought's $1,000. Let's do a Terrageddon. Let's find one. They don't have one. I don't have one. Let's just add. I'll just
if all of the money is in Mox Diamonds, then you're looking at approximately $3,000.
Yeah,
give or take.
I'll just add 3 Mox Diamonds into this parfait deck.
I have
which is what I've been looking at.
I have 2 rebuttals to your take.
You're looking at $3,600. Yeah.
The first is, because Premodern has no cards leave or no cards enter, if you were to buy those cards, they are safe to play in the format for always and forever. That's first wise, like the investment of those cards is worthwhile to play in Premodern because you know that they will never be power crept out.
I want to tag onto that as a positive as well. Those cards are playable in other formats and do see play in other formats.
Yeah. The second thing that I want to say is the value of being a community-run format is if at any point, now for what it's worth, like, Survival of the Fittest is a super expensive card, but it has a gold border version, but even that one's pretty expensive. City of Traders, but it has a gold border version, even that one's like relatively expensive. But like, if at any point like a card becomes like astronomical. So like, Mox Diamond doesn't have a gold border version apparently, like you were telling me. So like if it becomes such a problem, people can just be like, hey, any card that's worth over this amount of money, proxy it. Or everybody could just be like, yep, all events are forever proxy friendly, even the ones that only had gold border before. Like at any point, the community could just agree that like all of the like, North American Premodern championships are like, hey guys, it's a proxy friendly event, and here's the quality that a proxy needs to be, and then you just have your guidelines for what is considered an acceptable proxy. But otherwise, like that is from my POV. Like when you're saying it has a Mox Diamond problem, I go, oh, it's a community run format. We can just solve that problem if we want to.
And that
Now,
all
granted, that
comes
we have to
down
agree
to
on
the
that.
TOs
Like,
specifically. And for what it's worth, like I play at Top Deck once a month. There's a 1K coming. I'm pretty sure, I'm going to check right now. I'm pretty sure that 1K is proxy friendly.
but I think too, also because the format is community driven, and because we know about these cards that are in the fixed card pool, you could also carve out like for certain cards that are the like price outliers, so to speak. Like I think you could either do a cap, so like any card over this amount you can proxy even at the high end events. Here's the quality that is acceptable for a proxy. Or you could just like have a list of like cards that are proxyable that can come and fall off depending on the price. But I think that's why it's easier to just do a price cap.
So for this event at Top Deck, this is at Top Deck on October 18th. It's a 1K for Premodern. Playtest cards / gold border cards allowed. So if you had a confusion about what playtest cards mean, it obviously means proxies because gold border cards is there, right, as another option. So you in this pretty high level event for like this is like an SCG side event, right? You're allowed to play, and that's Top Deck. That's the same guys who run Eternal Weekend, right? Like so that is a step in the right direction as far as what should be okay to play. Now, I'm not saying everything needs to be proxy all the time, but I think for these community run formats, I do think proxies are a thing that we should embrace. And we do that with Premier, where we highly encourage people that are running Premier events to go ahead and make them proxy friendly. But I say all that to say this, Phil. It's not just that the Mox Diamond is expensive. That's one part of it, but also it's that it seems like this is a card that you could play in every deck. Again, I'm not saying I'm specifically calling for bannings here, but this card, there's no deck that I feel like wouldn't benefit from Mox Diamond, but we don't see it played that much because it's expensive.
I think I disagree that more decks would want it. Like I get that like going down a card is significant. If somebody blows up your Mox Diamond, like that matters if you're relying on it for mana. I think that there's more depth to Mox Diamond than meets the eye when it comes to is it worth it or is it not. Like I get that it shows up less now because like pretty much it's like what Terrageddon type decks are like Oath Terra.
There's that really interesting deck that SWB put out that was like an Oath Parfait deck.
My man.
With it, and I am hype. I'm gonna end up playing that like this week or next week just to run it through its paces. That deck looks super fun.
It's super sweet.
The thing is like you and I are both in the same vein for Premodern. I love to brew, right? And that is a card that I feel like I need to have access to in order to brew. Now online, they're cheap. But we have a God account, wonderful. Or you can rent decks online. It's much cheaper.
What are the events where you can't play at IRL though? Like any local is going to be proxy friendly, and then any of the major events like those are all proxy friendly.
No, not LobsterCon, not LobsterCon.
But if it was a significant enough problem, they could just.
Well, this is the pressure campaign.
You're pressuring for like the one event. Yeah. Okay, I can get behind that.
Like, look, Legacy and Vintage are pretty much the same way too. Is there's one event a year where proxies actually are a thing that you can't use. Almost every other place I go to play Legacy, minus like an SEG con, it's proxy friendly. Same thing with Vintage. Vintage is like an unspoken 15 card proxy.
No, it's not unspoken. It's very clear that it's 15 card proxy in Vintage events that you go to. And Legacy is a little bit different. I think like I go to my Legacy local, you can't use proxies. It's still a sanctioned event. But like
my locals are all proxy friendly.
I would be in favor of everything being proxy forever because I don't think WotC needs to be.
Well, like look at fucking EDH, man. Like there's every EDH event is basically proxy friendly. The tournaments that get run for EDH, because obviously you're playing casually, but the tournaments that get run for CEDH and stuff like that, they're all community run. So similar situation. They're not only are they proxy friendly, they've got like next to no rules for their proxies. Like there like every time I see an EDH like match is like waifu anime babes on like a Kennen. It's like there's just no rules for the proxies. Like at least have some rules, I think. But like even those formats that are like trying to achieve some level of like comp REL, like are pretty cool with proxies. It's a bummer now, and I'm not shitting on the guys from LobsterCon. I'm just using LobsterCon as an example. It's a bummer that like the the championship event of the year for Legacy, for Vintage, and for Premodern are the only events that are really not proxy friendly.
Eternal Dirtles is proud to be sponsored by Moxfield. Moxfield is the best Magic the Gathering deck building website on the internet. You can create, share, and find decks from Commander to Legacy and even fan supported formats like Premodern and Old School. You can see all of our decks on our Moxfield. Follow the links below to stay tuned.
I think I'm still on the side that like all of the cards that are too pricey, it's like you could just it would be an easy solve. I hear what you're saying. I hear that like there is these like price outliers that are only getting pricier, but because of reserve list and whatever. But like I also see it as I hear what you're saying. I just think that like it's such an easily solvable problem because of the community run format that like if there was a threat like and I get it like just putting this out there as like a way like hey guys like Zach, you are seeing a problem. I'm not seeing a problem. But if it's also just like an easy solvable problem that only benefits people going long, like cool. To me, I don't think there's a Mox Diamond problem. But if there was like, hey guys, any card that's worth over $100 is now just proxy friendly, and like
Even
we
like
know,
any reserve list card. Like I
Sure.
think that would be any
Oh, yeah,
reserve
dude,
list
like
card that
LED
doesn't have a
like,
gold border.
there's
like,
no
I don't-
Lion's Eye Diamond deck, but LED's on the reserve list, and LED's like 450 a pop, 500 a pop, or whatever it is. So like I could see like those worlds where there isn't a cheaper alternative like there is for like survival, but even survival gold borders are pretty pricey. Like Gaia's Cradle, like all those cards. Like I understand that like if you want to play elves, like you have to play like maybe you can find gold border Gaia's Cradles, and those are maybe a little bit
those are
cheaper. I
only
don't know.
$400.
But like even still, it's like to solve that problem though. That way, people can actually play what they want to in the format. Like to me, it's just like, hey, anything over this amount of money can be just proxy, or you just make it so that there's all proxy, and then Martin Berlin or whoever is that like handles what goes on, what is banned and what isn't. Like essentially, the people who are curating the format are also just like, here is the definitive guide for what is proxy allowable, or you just like have your own like add an addendum to the thing where somebody can like print a quality proxy or just at least a guideline on like what is acceptable as a proxy. That way everybody is on the same page about like what is acceptable at a high event. That way there's
$50 for a Gaia's Cradle, by the way.
Okay, so yeah, like, but I think that like if you're just like, yep, anything that's over $100 or whatever the price marker is, you can just make it like those cards are proxy allowable, or you just make it so that everything is proxy legal, and then you just have your guidelines for what is qualifies as a legitimate proxy. Legitimate proxy. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my real one of the great things about this format, Phil, is that it was so inclusive to begin with, and it still is pretty inclusive. I'm not gonna, like
It's
not like
extremely
people-
inclusive. Yeah.
It's extremely inclusive. The reprint policy on cards, as far as like what's allowable, really like just hit me. I was like, that was such a smart and inspired take to be like, here's what's wrong, not wrong, but here's what stops people from playing old school, right? Like that, like it has to be unlimited, or like it has to be the original printing, the original art of the card. For aesthetic reasons, I 100% get it. But there's no aesthetic reasons behind Premodern, right? Like it's a fun format that it has a bit of nostalgia, but there's it basically is like it's like old school light, so that you can still interact with the cards the way we used to, but we're not like all locked into like, oh, everything has to be just like Magic was at the beginning, right? So that reprint policy was inspired because it allowed us to be like, hey, like I've got a copy of whatever the hell that just got printed, and it actually kept the price of the cards down. It's really funny when I'm watching like random finance videos where people are like, this card went up this week. It must be because people are using it in their EDH decks. And it's like, that's not always the answer. Sometimes it's, like Parallax Tide was in one. And it's like, that's not from EDH. That's definitely from Premodern. Like people are like, oh, they're figuring out ways to make infinite combos with Parallax Tide. It's like, no, they're not, No, they're just figuring out ways to play in other formats. And I think that to that end, for the most part, when there's a viable amount of reprints, it keeps the card prices down and makes the format player friendly. And I want the format to be as player friendly as possible. That's where this video is coming from.
Yeah, and I think that from my POV, it's just like the easiest solve in the world, which is great. That's the benefit of a community run format, is that you can just have easy solves. You don't have to like beg the powers that be at WotC to like do something that otherwise they wouldn't care about. Like,
I guess then this episode is for Duress Crew specifically.
and I also think that there's a take. Like, I mean, you presented this and you like, hey Phil, I recognize this as a potential problem, and I'm over here being like, I just don't think that that's a problem at all. So it's also just like a, gauge the pre-modern community to get like, hey, is this something that is like essentially stopping or stifling people from doing things that they otherwise would want to do? And if that is potent enough, then it's like, okay, cool, then we will just solve this because we can. And that's great. I mean, that's like just communication from players to TOs and vice versa. I think it's interesting. Like, you're opening my eyes a bit, because like I just didn't think it was a problem at all. And if you're like, yeah, I would love to be able to brew with this, but I just can't because I don't have access to the cards really, and it would be great if I did. It's like, okay,
yeah, I mean,
well,
I'm not gonna brew like a cool like Shard Phoenix deck that has Mox Diamonds in it, because I'm not going to be able to take it to a major event. Like, I don't want to fall in love with the deck and be like, I got to spend $3,600. My wife just lost her job.
That's
on.
super interesting for sure. And I can totally agree with that. Like, I do have Mox Diamonds because I was trying to build Parfait right as Lantax was getting banned. Like, that's my intro to the format, was I never got to actually build Parfait because the Lantax was banned while they were in the mail.
But that goes to my point, is like you had no financial loss even after that deck got bonked, because the card is still played in other formats.
There was a time where I was actually thinking about unloading them, because I was like, I can't play Parfait. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try and, spend my time trying to recreate Parfait. But at the same time, like, I can imagine that if I wanted to like do that now and I didn't have my Mox Diamonds, I'd be like, man, it would be really easy to solve if I could just proxy these instead of shelling out, however much they are now. I mean, I got them when they were still not nearly as much as they are now. I think I got them at half of what they are now. But like, even then, like, it's still really it's still a ton of money.
Phil, I have a question for the audience, actually, if you'll indulge me.
I'll be the placeholder for the audience, for sure.
Yeah. Are you listening to this on a drive right now, or are you listening to it on the toilet or at work? You owe us $5. Go to patreon.com/eternaldurdles and support the show. We're giving you this entertainment every single day. There's no reason why you can't help us out, help support the channel, just do the work that's involved in keeping the community going. Also, you get it ad free on Patreon, and we set up an RSS feed for you. So if you're a podcast listener, you can get the ad free RSS feed there as well.
Bro, if anybody is out there listening to us wax poetic about trying to recreate Parfait on the toilet, like,
yeah, I mean that's where I do my best listening.
Good on those folks. Good on you.
Sitting there, you're taking your work dump, and you're like, I need to.
I just gotta hear the. I gotta,
yeah,
like what knots are we stifling today?
What other times do you have a chance to like sit down and like really think and not be bothered by anybody, right?
Wow, yeah. Instead, you can be bothered by our takes.
Yeah, but With that said, what do you guys think? Mox Diamond, does it need to leave the format? Do we need it? Do we? Is there a Mox Diamond Prime?
That's not the question.
Is there a Mox Diamond problem?
Should all the major events that we go to, including LobsterCon, just be entirely proxy friendly? And then what are the guidelines? What would you consider to be the guidelines for proxy friendly? I ain't having the clickbait on should Mox Diamond be banned. Get out of here with that.
Should we get rid of Mox Diamond?
Get out of here with that one.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you on the flip.
Enjoy your dump.
Eternal Durdles is proud to be sponsored by Moxfield. Moxfield is the best Magic the Gathering deck building website on the internet. You can create, share, and find decks from Commander to Legacy, and even fan-supported formats like Premodern and Old School. You can see all of our decks on our Moxfield. Follow the links below to stay tuned.